Welcome to the first edition of the Knockabout show. It's been a long time coming. It's gone away from the $45 Nokia and in our studio here. So the show proudly sponsored by AussiePro.com and SP Cleaning Solutions. For all your cleaning needs, ring up Sinead. So tonight's show, like I said, the first podcast show. We've got a couple of special guests here tonight, and it's both players from the Suns, Blake Jago, current captain, and ex-captain Adam Scarpino, the first premiership captain of the Suns. So looking forward to seeing what they have to say tonight. So, all right, with a week off, all the players should be nice and refreshed, and we'll preview a few games. And obviously with the A grade, we're hoping to have a couple of A grade players here during the year just to help me out with the A grade and preview the A grade's games. So first game off the rank, we've got Altona versus Sunshine. Obviously Altona need to bounce back after their disappointing loss to a young Point Cook. Look for Altona to be taken seriously, that they come up against a young Sunshine. Need to win this game of football. Obviously, Altona's percentage is not the best, so they got to hit the scoreboard. And talking to their assistant coach, Nathan Moona, he thinks with the break, the players are refreshed, and I think they'll be too strong for a young Sunshine, an improving Sunshine if they've been very competitive. But I think Altona's a different side, and Altona to win the game by 35 points. All right, we'll go to the second game, Spotswood versus Caroline, and Spotswood coming up against, we've spoken about Caroline Springs. They started off slow, but just before the break, they got their mojo back. Brian Lake down there doing a stellar job, and hope to get you on the show here, Brian. I'm sure you're a bit of a knockabout, so you actually suit the show, and I'm sure myself and you can go head to head. So, but in saying that, look, I think Spotswood, for Spotswood to be taken serious, they need to take a top scalp. And I just don't think if Spotswood have got enough good players on their list to be competitive against Caroline. I just think Caroline are playing beautiful football at the moment, and I just think they'll be too strong for Spotswood. And Caroline Springs by 45 points there, and Brian Lakeside marching along there nicely and consolidate their double chance. All right, we go to the third game. Hoppers flying at the moment against a disappointing Parkside. Look, Hoppers are a completely pretty hard side. I think if home advantage, Hoppers is one of the clubs that use their home advantage to their advantage, and look, I think Hoppers should be too strong for Parkside. Look, they've been a bit disappointing, Parkside, for me. They've lost a couple of close contests. Look, on their day, I've got no doubt with Chris, on their day, Parkside can be a very competitive side, but unfortunately have been a bit too inconsistent during games. And Hoppers, and we've spoken about Hoppers, especially if they fly their blokes down, I think they'd be hard side to beat. And in saying that, Hoppers should beat Parkside by a comfortable 55 points there, and unfortunately lost there to Parkside will probably end this season and making a top 5. So, all right. We go to our next game. This should be a pretty interesting game, Newport versus Point Cook Centrals. Look, I think Newport can win this in a close game. Point Cook Centrals, we've spoken about Point Cook Centrals, a young side, looking for a new coach. So, look, if anything, if these young blokes can perform and they sign a coach that can bring some players on next year, we've spoken about how they need to keep the Mitch Palmers, the William Boys and the Starks there to be competitive next year. And I think Newport just got a bit too much class in their lineup, looking at their lineup. And I think Newport in a close game, like we said, by 15 points against a young Point Cook Centrals. All right, we go to our second last game. Point Cook, coached there by my good friend Sadi Ghazi versus Yarraville Seddon. It's good to see Sadi Ghazi is actually putting a bit of game time into the under-18s coming up and playing senior football. So that holds them in good stead, obviously putting game time into the young blokes. And but in saying that, I think Yarraville Seddon's got to be the most attacking side in the competition. They score quickly and can score heavily. And look, I know Point Cook's won their last couple of games, but it's a different opponent tomorrow. Yarraville Seddon is in third on the ladder and pushed Hoppers last week. I think Yarraville Seddon will be far too strong for a young Point Cook down there, and Yarraville Seddon by a 69-point margin down there. And we go to the last game, Werribee District. We've spoken about them. Premiership favourites at the moment against Albion. Look, definitely Albion's biggest test since going up into A grade. It's always good to challenge yourself against the best sides, and Werribee are definitely that. I think Blake's doing a stellar drop down at Albion. Definitely out of all the B grade sides, they're probably the side going the best there at the moment. But travelling down to Werribee, it's a hard task, and unfortunately, I just can't see the boys beating Werribee tomorrow. But Werribee in a comfortable 64-point win there, and I'm sure Albion will take a lot from the game. So, okay, that's your A grade, and like I said, we're hoping to get a couple of A grade players in so you can help me preview the games, and look forward to having your say. And like I said, I hope to get Brian Lake on the show, and I'm sure all the viewers are hoping Brian does come on the show, because like I said, it's a show about a bit of banter, have a laugh, and when it comes to footy knowledge, I've got no idea. All right, welcome back to the Knockabouts show, and exciting times here. I'm going to announce our first guest. I'm wearing his badge here, so we've got Blake Jago, current co-captain of the Suns. Blake, welcome to the Knockabout show, and it's good to have you on board.
Oh, thank you. You're allowed to say the P word?
You're allowed to say anything you want here, Blake. It's pretty raw. It's open up to just be yourself.
I'll dial it back because I'm Skip. I've got to dial it back.
100% you've got to do, and you could have had a shave for the occasion too, Blake. Yeah, so
I haven't showered in 3 days.
Obviously, Blake, been just at the moment, how's everything going down at the Suns this year at the moment? New coach, some new players into the place. So
yeah, it's good. We've had a few more experienced players come in who have played a high level of footy, who have obviously brought a fair bit of knowledge with them, same as the coaching staff. We've been up and down. We're battling with injuries. It's sort of next man up mentality, but still, when you've got 3 or 4 guys coming in and out each week, the continuity's throwing it around a bit. But the second half of the year, we get stuff right, we can make a run.
100%. Yeah. That's, look, obviously spending a couple of years down there, I obviously know a lot of you boys, a lot of pride down there, and yourself. You always lead from the front, and it's a credit to you. So, what is Blake Jago's background? Your junior football, obviously, the Suns are a new side. It wasn't at the Suns. So where did you play your junior football?
I actually started at Werribee, under 10s. Played there until under 16, so a fair bit of footy there. Enjoyed it, played probably my best footy when I was a junior. And then I went to Hoppers, under 18s, because my cousin and that were there. And at Werribee, I actually lost 3 grand finals.
Okay.
And then I went to Hoppers and we won 3. It was a good move. Yeah. Plus Werribee with VAFA. I didn't want to play VAFA at that stage. Yeah. Played, I reckon, 5-6 years there. And then went to Manor Lakes for a couple of years.
So you did get at Manor Lakes?
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I was at Manners. And they folded, and I had the year off because I did my MCL, Johnny Cow, the dog. tackled someone into
Good
the
old
knee.
Johnny Cow.
I'll have a grudge for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Obviously, Lakes folding. Your paycheck was pretty high down there, was it? Or
Not mine. I still haven't been paid.
still haven't been paid. No. So Shane, if you're listening to the show, pay Blakey. Yeah, so obviously Manor Lakes, they folded and that's how you ended up at the Suns.
Yeah, well, because I had the year off because of my knee, but all Doggers, Mika, they all went down there. So I sort of stayed away from footy for the rest of that year, and then I jumped back in the year after. Yeah, because they're all down there. I think half the boys split, went to Tarneet, went to Suns. So
that's right. I think I did message you, Blake. I was coaching Glen Ordon at the time, but
I'd remember that, mate.
No, you looked at it and didn't respond. So yeah, I was a bit dirty with you, Blake. So.
I was looking for a reason. Now you're wearing me badge.
Now I'm wearing your badge. Exactly right. So obviously, like I said, co-captain of the club now. Some big things happening there. Hopefully, the second half of the year. And look, Manor Lakes folding. Great pick up from the Suns. Obviously, I was there for a couple of years. You lead from the front, you're a stalwart, you sort of set standards, and I think the other players just enjoy following it. So
I appreciate that.
In saying that, young Blake, is that, look, I did get a message yesterday. Our great friend, obviously the Suns and Braybrook have got this bit of banter. Obviously, I don't want to bring it up, but obviously the 2022 grand final.
Do you have tissues?
I have tissues. So look. You're part of that grand final, and just the emotions. Obviously, it's a grand final. You expected to win.
Yeah, 100%. Like fair play to Braybrook. They were unreal. They finished. I think they just scraped in the finals and just clean swept everyone above them. And yeah, I reckon we went into that game a bit cocky. Thought we were gonna. I was part of that problem. I kicked, I think, 5 points, no goals that day, and we just lost. So. It was a shocker, but it was good to bounce back the year after. Yeah. But I tell you what, in that grand final the year after, when Auburn were coming back, the thoughts started coming back in their head again.
They would have that. Going back to that Braybrook grand final, obviously kicking 5-17 doesn't help.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hate to bring this up, young Blakey. What was your contributing to that 17 points?
Yeah, I think 5 points, no goals.
5 points, no goals. So, look, I'm not going to go as far as say you lost in the grand final. You just say, no, Blake. Look, at the end of the day, I know I can say that, Blake. He's a typical knockabout, but obviously, like I said, with 5-17, it's not going to win you many games of football. But after the game, the more important stuff started for me. Obviously, I wasn't part of any club and that, so the banter that started on Facebook between the Braybrook blokes and the Suns blokes was amazing. So obviously Bouchard did, he got in there and called your club chokers and so and seeing that would have hurt a little bit too. So
it did, obviously, because half of it's true. But back then, obviously, not being Skip, anything I saw online that didn't sit with me, I'll let people know about it.
Yeah.
I sort of shut up a bit coming into the All-Mel game. I waited till we won to sort of go back, otherwise it would have been embarrassing. But fair bit of banter, all harmless.
100%. So obviously, the viewers don't know. There's between the Braybrook and Suns. I made a bet with Bouchard. I thought the Suns were going pretty well at the moment when we did play Braybrook
last year.
I put a bet on $1,000 with Bouchard. Unfortunately, we just scraped through. So I did get a call yesterday, Bouchard. He just doesn't think the Chokers will ever beat Braybrook. So I put my money where my mouth is. He's giving me double or nothing. So I put $1,000 on the Suns to beat Braybrook tomorrow, Blake. So please tell me I haven't done my money.
Mate, I hope so. Otherwise, you'll be doing this show on the street.
Exactly right.
No, I'll do what I can. I'll control the controllables.
Yeah. One comment that did stand me out with Bouchard was, you know, you made a comment after Auckland did win last week. Obviously, Bouchard's just the banter, chokers, just getting it to the club. You did say something to Bouch on Facebook, and can you recall what you said? Like,
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Would you like to share it for the viewers?
Yeah, well, he said just before the granny that we're going to choke, and then after we won, I told him to choke on me schlong.
Now, for you people that don't know, Blake, obviously, you've got to go to the dictionary to find out what it actually means. To just give us straightforward. What does it actually mean, right? Like
A cock.
cock, right? That's what we want to hear. A shalong sour. There you go.
Well, I didn't want the comment to get reported, so I wanted everyone to see it. It's probably still there, you know.
100%. I know when I seen that comment, I thought, Blakey, well done. So, look, good luck tomorrow against Bradbrook. Obviously, it's a big game for your club.
Yeah, has to turn it around.
Yeah, sitting fourth on the ladder. Bradbrook, a game behind us, and dare to say, I think which I believe the Suns will win, beat Bradbrook tomorrow, and you can end their season. So
Yeah, big game.
not only just end their season, also
Get your money back.
get me money back. That's the most important thing. So look, before you do go, Blake, you've been an absolute legend for coming into the studio. I've got 5 questions for you. I've made this segment up. It's 5 questions with the Messiah.
I'll give it a spell.
No, exactly right. But anyway, actually, I've come up with that name after the 2019 Grand Final.
Yeah.
All right, now, who is the worst dresser at your club?
I'm gonna say Caish.
Caish.
Yeah, he's in full dad mode.
Oh, here you
You
go.
know, like the trend these days, everyone's wearing big baggier pants. He's still in the tight
He's
jeans,
still in the tight jeans.
the polo tucked in, showing the guns. Yeah.
So the ex-coach has got nominated.
You can't not play me.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, Dean Caish. You're the worst dressed down that club.
Still a unit, but
Always a unit. Our Caish. We love our Caish. So, all right, our second question. Now, this is a big one here. You know, you play with teammates. Who actually talks a big game but never delivers? Look, I know the answer, but I just want to know your answer. Yeah.
it's got to be me, co-captain from last year, the one who's coming in after me, Scarpy.
Oh, there you go. Actually, I was going down the same path.
Once he watches this as well, he'll get into the inbox and be like, "No, dude, are you serious?" Or
So, Scarps, Blake and I agreed. You talked a big game, but you just didn't want to hear
I love you.
No, of course we love our Scarps. All right, the third question now, juniors, seniors. Now, who's been your hardest opponent?
Well, I think I was playing under 14s at Werribee, maybe as a bottom major, and we played Spotty, and I had to tag. I can't remember his last name, Stasi or something. And I did a pretty good job. So the next week we played Willie. And the coach was like, "All right, you're tagging again." It was Lockie Hunter, and absolutely tore me a new one. I didn't want to play footy ever again. I think I went home and cried.
Well, in all fairness, he did go on and play AFL football. So,
right.
So look,
Fair one.
Credit to you. You played on a decent player in it. So, so there you go, Lockie Hunter. If you listen to the show, definitely Blake's hardest opponent.
Never been the same.
Never been the same. All right, now this is your favourite ground you've played on.
Oh,
it won't be Avalon, obviously, Werribee.
No.
Definitely not.
No. Probably, like, I absolutely loved Soldiers Reserve. I don't know why, like, just playing juniors there, I think it's built up. You know, it's a small ground. I played better probably on big grounds with space, but for some reason, I absolutely just loved that ground. I think juniors, I played midfield, so you could get around easy, you know, but yeah, it's probably my favourite ground.
There you go, Soldier Reserve. Is it nice little? Is it little ground?
Yeah, it's tiny. Yeah,
light ground. All right, now this one here. This is for you, Aussies. It actually irritates me. This one here. Being a good Italian boy, I am. Is it Parma, Parmi, or Parmigiana?
It's got to be Parmy.
No, there you go.
Palmer, mate, not Palmer vagina.
There you go. I knew the skip will say Palmer.
Yeah, that's Palmer.
Blake, coming from an Italian, it's Parmigiana.
No.
Can we say that one?
Parmesan.
There you go. He's got it right. Blakey, right. For actually coming into the show, we've got a gift for you. Look, this is part of everyone's football bag, I believe. There's a couple of rolls of toilet paper. Mate, you're dying for a shit. You go to opposition clubs and there's no toilet paper.
Yeah.
Or if there is toilet paper, it's like sandpaper.
And the door don't lock properly.
And the door don't lock properly. So, Blakey, I think every football kit, and I hope this goes in your footy kit, a couple of pieces of toilet paper. Blakey, you've been an absolute legend. For myself and the show, we've got a wall in there. You do me the pleasure signing your name, and that's for every guest that's here. So,
100%.
Blake, good luck tomorrow. Bouchard, get your money ready because the Suns are going to beat you by 65 points tomorrow.
That first set shot, I'm going to go.
Ah, there you go. And you know what? You can suck his shalom. Welcome back to the Knockabout show. We've just had our commercial break there with preview the A grade, and we've had Blake Jago on. My second guest today's show is Suns' first premiership captain is Adam Scarpino. Welcome to the Knockabout show, Ads.
Thanks, Puff. Good to be on the show.
Beautiful.
Thanks for asking me to come along
Beautiful.
today.
Just look. I think all viewers want to know. Ex-coach Dean Case, obviously he's had his calf injury. How's he coming along?
Yeah, look, he's in good spirits. Obviously, he'd love to be out there, especially when the team's struggling a bit.
Yeah.
But he's doing what he can. Doing the right recovery. And
so when can we see Dean back out on the park? 2025 or 2026?
I don't want to say too much, obviously, because the season's still in play. But yeah, I'll leave it at a maybe.
Oh, keeping your cards close into the chest. Oh, no, I like that already, Scarps. Scarps is on the wall already. Scarps, I just want to say, I'm not part of Fulham. Look, I'm not part of Fulham Footy Club. I'm not a spy.
Yeah,
right?
I fully trust you.
What our viewers want to know, Scarps, obviously, like I said, you're first premiership captain now, but obviously the Suns being a young club in history. Now, look, a lot of people don't know about the Suns. I know I spent a couple of years down there, but, a bit of history about the Suns. When did they come into the competition? How did they come along to come into competition? So, look, by all reports, it started 2014. You had an under-19 side down at amateur competition, was it?
Yeah.
Wether, so who was coaching?
So, it all started in 2014. So what had happened with Old Westbourne? So pretty much, I can't remember the story exactly, but so Old Westbourne School, obviously a very private school, lots of money.
Very private school.
So the football club I was playing for, Old Westbourne, was having a lot of fights on field.
Yeah.
And then I believe that the principal of Westbourne said, "Look, we're a great school. We don't deal with this shit. Stop punching on." And we sort of just couldn't. So guys pretty much cracked the shits, and he said, "Well, it's just not going to work. At the end of the day, a football club's going to be a football club." And then so he put the question out about maybe I think half of us came over to the Wyndham Suns, and it was created in 2014. So yeah, it was an interesting time, whether to go, whether to stay. But yeah, like my group of friends sort of were going, so I thought, I'll go.
So with that under-19s, is the current players still at the Suns that were part of that under-19s that come across? Obviously you were.
Actually, funny enough, no. There was one maybe 2 years ago, but called it quits. So, but yeah, it's been a long time, Paul.
Okay,
there is no one from that Old Westbourne side besides myself.
Well, there you go.
But you create new friendships, Paul.
You do create new friendships. Not only are you the first premiership captain, but you're the only player that's come in that era. So that's a credit to you, obviously. So, obviously, your first senior coach. Who was the first senior coach?
The 19s. I'll just talk about them. Under Brad Gillum, he was a teacher at Thomas Carr. So we had our group, obviously, of 10 or 15 from Old Westbourne, and then he's bought some people from school.
Is that the school where they had the $5 jobs? Thomas Carr?
No comment, Paul.
No comment.
So, yeah, we were pretty good that year. We made it to a prelim. We lost to St. Bernard's. But it was good, like, it was just getting the club going pretty much. Yeah. And then in 2015, we had our first senior side, and the first coach was Matthew Studley. So we didn't really have a lot of players, and we didn't really have much, just sort of starting up. But credit to Matthew Studley, he brought, honestly, about 30 blokes to the club. I don't know what happened exactly with Central Lakes, but falling out there. So he came over, and he was the first senior coach, and yeah, it was good. It was sort of like kicking off, sort of could see the direction that the Suns are going into early days.
So obviously Graham was the first.
Graham was still there, yeah. Graham came over, Graham created everything.
Okay.
So he pretty much took a punt, said, guys, I'm going. This is not working. Who's coming? And then, 2 years in, we have a senior side. And we're pretty good that year as well. Made a prelim and lost to Orbervale, your old mob, by 10 goals.
How times have changed now, haven't they, Scarf? They have a little bit as the Suns have got the wood over and more outside.
Sure do. So, 2016, the next year, Studley was, I don't know if he was sacked or he left or whatever, but yeah, he left with about maybe 5 games to go.
I think with 5 games to go,
something like that.
He was definitely sacked. He was definitely sacked.
No comment, Paul. So I don't want to say too much on the show. But yeah, so then Brent Cook, who was a twos player.
Yeah, Cookie.
We all know Cookie. A few people know Cookie. I think he's playing in the Masters now.
He is playing at the Masters. And
he took over for the last 5 or 6 games, and that was sort of just to get us through because the club was sort of a break point, no senior coach.
That's right, because at that time I think he was the second coach at the Suns, or was helping us.
No, I think he was in the leadership group. He wasn't a coach, but he was in and out of the reserves. I don't know if it was for injury or maybe just managing his body. So the coaching role for him was perfect.
Yeah,
And then 2017 was the great Michael Boothie.
Yes.
Very good coach. He came in, and it was good because we had a proper structure. We had people who wanted to be there, and we all know how professional.
What was Boothie like as a coach? Is obviously I knew him a little bit, not as much in that, but obviously we had respect for each other.
Of course,
but what was he like? Was he?
Honestly, it was unreal. He made you feel 10 times better than you were, and sometimes in local football, that's all you need. You coach like that.
100%, yeah.
So yeah, he was really good. I didn't think we had that good of a side in 2018, but I just think his coaching ability made players believe they were a lot better, and we just rolled with that.
You always got to pump the tyres up.
100% Paul. 100% Paul. So his first year, we made it to a prelim again and lost to Tarneit, believe it or not.
Oh, lost to Tarneit.
2017. I'll say we love that. And then 2018, we were hot favourite, Puff. Should have won it. Beat every side. And then just on the day, choked in front of the big stage.
Oh, not the big choke word. Michael Bouchard from Braybrook loves using that word again. He loves that word with using against the Suns.
He really does. Down at Avalon Airport, Puff, where just dreams didn't come true for the Sunset.
It's been a bit of an omen that ground for you. Obviously, you lost that 2018, but obviously, we'll touch on 2022, and obviously losing to Braybrook in that grand final was, like Boothie said, you choked. Would you say you choked, or just look?
218 or 220?
222. You look at that score that
we definitely
day.
Choked. Yeah,
517's back kicking, and that's but anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's a touching point there for Scarf.
So hot favourites, like I said, in 18 to win it, lost, and now that I look back at it, it was probably a good thing for the club, just because we didn't really have juniors, like I was saying before with the 19s and stuff like that. We didn't really have juniors to go up to the next division, so probably would have struggled and probably just been kicked back down. And then pretty much 2018, we were meant to win it. Everyone knew that, and because we didn't, pretty much everyone left, Puff.
Okay, so
So going from the best year in 2018 to probably the hardest and worst year in 2019. No players, no coach. I remember rocking up to pre-season training with my best mate Paul, and I swear to God, there was 5 people there. You know, a lot of people say, there was this many, just to make the story.
Was that Paul Tomorty, was it all?
Yeah, me and Paul, yeah. But, people say the story, there was no one there, but there was generally 5 people there.
No one there, yeah.
It was me, Paul, and 3 other footballers that weren't really footballers. So,
actually, true story, in 2019, we were obviously, I was coaching Glen Orden. We were pretty close to signing your coach up, Dean Kosher.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
That close, but he knocked it back, and obviously you'll tell the story. He was the announced coach of the Sunset.
Yeah, so 2019, looking around, and there's not much, and me and Paul looking at each other thinking, what are we going to do here, And then, so the next training session we come, and I'll give it one more shot. And then I remember Dean coming out with a whistle and I go, what are you doing? Because I've known Dean since juniors.
Yeah,
he coached me under 14s or whatever. So I've known Dean for a very long time. And I said, what are you doing with the whistle, mate? And he goes, I'm going to be coach. And I just started laughing at him. I said, mate, you're a great footballer, but you're not a coach. And he said, look, he goes, the club's on its knees, he goes, I'm begging you. He goes, I'm begging you and Paul to stay. And, me and Paul are looking around, and we're like, you know what? We started here. Paulie was still there. He came from Hoppers, I think, when I was playing in the 19s.
Yeah.
So he was sort of part of the start of it. And we just said to each other, like, why not? It's going to be hard, but.
So what you did notice was obviously how clubs, you go in the high, then you go in the low. So I mean,
especially with local footy.
No, 100%. And I always felt, Scarps, the low points make you the person you are and the player you are. So. Obviously, like you said, that 2019 was a testing year for some people.
Yeah.
That year, obviously, where I'm going.
Of course.
Where I'm going, but
don't look too happy about it.
No, look, obviously, we'll go there. Obviously, 2019, we Glen Orden were premiers. Look,
I was going to get there, Paul.
I think what helped the Suns that year, and obviously not just the Suns and Tarney, when Manor Lakes folded that year, I think you actually beat us in the second half of the year by 20 points.
Pretty much with that. 2019, we've signed, and pretty much we're getting no numbers to training at all.
Yeah.
So Danny and Graham put out a message saying, like, ask anyone. Don't care if your dog, your cousin, your best friend, whatever. Get them down to, we just need to get through the year. We managed to get through the year with some average footballers. Pretty much just people put in a jumper, to be honest. Stand here, do this, do that.
And the thing, and I know we went through the same thing with 2018 when Glen Orden come back. Similar to your story, I had to pull them out from prison, Centrelink, just to get anything. But credit to your club, you kept the doors opened, and you've obviously COVID had a big impact on the club because. Probably 2020 or 2021, you finished on top, and the season was cut short. But anyway, we'll get to that 2023.
Yeah. So 2019, Dean puts his hand up, and credit to him. Got a lot of respect for him. Could have easily just said nah, and just forgotten about the club and let it go. But put his hand up and really had no one. So got a lot of respect for Dean and what he's done. Like I was saying, there wasn't many footballers. It's probably myself, Paul, and Sparrow was there as well. Because I don't know, thinking back to it, it was probably our worst year of football, but it was probably the best year at the same time.
Yeah.
You look at 2018 and 17, and we were good, successful sides, but it was very serious football.
Yeah.
We're just local footballers, so. 2019 sort of brought back the reality of you are just a local footballer. Just enjoy the people. Yeah. So we're getting smashed every week, but I feel like we're best mates.
And that's a bigger part about any sporting clubs. If you haven't got that enjoyment,
what's the point?
What's the point? Exactly right.
We've gone from Dean putting his hand up. I was announced captain, losing every game, and then unfortunately for Manor Lakes, they folded. But fortunately for us, we got about 6 or 7 of their players. Pretty good footballers. A couple of them are not playing anymore or gone on to other clubs. But we still have a few of the Manor Lakes boys in our side. And yeah, so that year we've gone from losing every game to a home stretch, and I think we missed the finals by maybe a game.
Yeah.
You
just come. I do.
You remember that year, Puff?
I do remember 2009.
Yeah, so we'll say it, Puff, because you told me before the show to say it.
Yeah.
That's the year Glenn Orton won the flag. The Messiah was Messiahing, of course.
Look, and that's when actually my name did change after that. It was King Puff, but
King Puff.
After that game was definitely Messiah. But
King fucking
Puff.
Puff.
We can take the piss in that, but I just thought, and I really, to be honest, I thought you were the best side that
we came home strong.
You came home very strong.
But yeah, it was a fucking tough year at the start. But yeah, then the Manor Lakes boys came and it was good. So yeah, then we rolled into 2020, and then obviously everyone knows what happened there with COVID. No footy at all, which was a bummer. We've gone through all the hard times that year, and you think the next year you got a good core. Manor Lakes boys are staying. Yeah, our core is getting better. More attraction because we were winning games. And then COVID hits, so that is what it is there.
Good old Dan Andrews.
Killed
our state. Fuck you, Dan Andrews.
And then 2021, we get to play 10 games. So we finally get this team going, Manor Lakes boys are still there. We're all still there. We're pumped, we're ready to go. And then we get 10 games in and COVID happens again. So yeah, that was hard. We finished top of the ladder that year. We beat every side. We were hot favourites again.
That was probably the year. I look back at it there, and that was probably the year. I think you would have been very, very hard to beat. Very hard to beat.
We were very good. Yeah, we were very good. But global pandemic. What can you do?
Exactly. So, all right, we get to that famous Michael Bouchard choking story. So obviously, look.
Let's just call it the loss, huh?
Just a loss. Yeah. Look, we won't go down that part, but honestly, looking back at 22, I think. Not just myself, but a lot of the football community were actually shocked with that result. Definitely the best side all year, and but just goes to show, Scarps. It doesn't matter where you finish, as long as you play finals. And
exactly, yeah, you're gonna have all the big names, but footy's a team sport. You just need role players.
So no doubt, after that loss, obviously you go back to the club rooms. And. How do you carry on for the year after? I mean, it would have been a lot of somber moods down there that night. Probably players saying themselves, questioning, why the fuck are we doing this?
Yeah. Well, you have a look. 2022, we're the best side by a mile. Yeah, we literally beat every side, finished top of the ladder. I think we beat Braybrook 3 times during the year.
That's right, you just did too. Yeah.
And by not points, we won by a few goals. So, you go from losing 2018, choking pretty much because we were the best side, to 2022 choking again. Yeah. You go through all the bullshit, you play those worst sides, you smash them, you play during the wear, you finally get to the big stage, you think it's going to happen, I remember the Suns, probably shouldn't say this, but I will. The Suns had everything organised back at the club.
Oh, well, there you go.
Pretty much penciled
in. There you go. That'll just put music to Bouchard's ears, that one.
Yeah. We'll maybe boot that bit.
Yeah,
and it just didn't happen. So, Avalon Airport again. The fucking voodoo oval.
Good old
just couldn't do it. So, after the siren went, I remember I walked in the rooms. I just fucking kicked the bin. I'm like, fuck this. Yeah. I'm never, ever playing again. Yeah. Fucking embarrassing. Yeah. You had all the Braybrook supporters fucking waving flags. Which, you know what? Fair enough.
And look, I love Braybrook supporters, but gee, they can be fair.
I do remember it, and you look back and you're angry, but you're like, at the end of the day, you probably would have done the same thing if your club won.
Yeah.
So, 100%. And really, no one picked him. Probably Bouchard picked him. Yeah. But no one picked him. They literally came from nowhere. Yeah. I think that was probably the issue with that year. Yeah. Probably we just thought it was all penciled in. We got everything organised.
And what stood out to me, Scarps, that's sorry, interrupted, but it is my show. But what actually stood to me after that loss was I love controversy, but the banter between the Suns and Braybrook, were just ongoing. So. Like you said, 2023. How does the club come back from a bad loss?
So obviously we lose, and everyone's probably thinking the same. Yeah. I don't know, but probably thinking the same. Fuck this. We've choked twice on the big stage, and I know something just hit all the boys. Like, fucking let's just do it again. Let's have a crack.
Yeah.
Dean was still keen. He had a lot of fire in the belly. Of course, he had a point to prove. He's gone from coaching a fucking terrible side to almost winning it.
Yeah.
So he's got fire in the belly. I've got fire in the belly. We get back 2023, and the Messiah has been appointed as senior assistant coach, which I thought, smart move. You've won a flag in the division.
Mate, you probably would have thought it's a smart move, but a lot of people would have said
I didn't want to
it's a
say that, but
dumb
a lot of people, big character Phil, probably the wrong move. You brought some players down, and they're very handy players, and then obviously we go down that year, and we finally win our fucking first flag, which was nice. It was nice to win it, Paul.
Can you look as a coach, but that last 8 minutes, no one scored.
7 minutes and 16 seconds.
Oh, was it 7 minutes 16? What there you go. But as a coach, we couldn't do much on the bench because we had no players, but to bring on and things like that. But as a player, how did you feel in that last 7 minutes? Because
honestly, fucked.
Because the ball was coming down.
Honestly, fucked.
Yeah.
I was a captain, and I remember them kicking it. So we're up by a fair bit. I can't remember exactly. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 goals.
It was 5 goals up at 3/4 time.
So thinking in the back of my head, fuck, I've got this.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk off as captain. Yeah. We're going to get our first fucking flag ever. Like, you can't take that away from us, And then they get within a kick, and I'm like, oh, fuck, Paul. It's going to happen again,
Oh, don't worry, you weren't the only one saying that.
100%, and I was just thinking, like, I'm going to have to walk off this oval. When they kicked the last goal, I remember just hearing, chokers. I thought it was a nightmare, Paul, but I was actually on the field playing.
I said the crowd actually...
The crowd was giving it to us, and I just remember the boys on their hands and knees, looked at Dean, he's scratching his head.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking what I'm thinking, like, this is going to be fucking embarrassing. I look over at my old man in the crowd, and he's like, just got those eyes, and you just think, oh, fuck, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, we defended for 7 minutes, not a score. Yeah. And then finally that fucking siren went poof, and
I'll be honest, Scarps, when that siren did actually go, I didn't actually hear it, but
I fucking heard it.
That last minute, I don't know, I can tell all the views, and you probably obviously wouldn't know, but I was behind a tree, closed my eyes with the smoke.
Oh no!
I couldn't watch.
I didn't know that, Poof.
I couldn't watch that last minute.
That's not like you.
I could not watch that last minute because I actually thought the same as you. We lost against Braybrook, but we're going to go down the same path because all of them are just finishing far superior, and that's but like you said, the siren goes, and it's
it was. I remember cheering, but I also remember just looking back and just like, thank fuck.
The monkey's off your back.
Yeah,
the monkey's off your 100%.
Just wanted to win it, not to celebrate and carry on like a fuckwit, just to fucking say, oh, finally, we haven't choked, it's happened, pencil it in, we've won our first flag. So, but amazing feeling, amazing.
Obviously, like you said, it's definitely a proud moment for Dean and yourself because really in 2019, he's kept the door open.
Yeah.
So
I was so happy we won it. I was also so happy for him. He copped a lot of stuff when we lost to Braybrook, especially, some personal stuff. And, so to see him on the end of it holding the cup up with a big smile, was good. I was happy to see it. He deserved it out of a lot of people. Went through all the bullshit and came out on top, and it was good. I was so happy for him.
So who celebrated the most? Who was best on ground celebrating?
Off ground, best on ground?
Definitely off ground.
Paul Tamaldi didn't go home.
But that's
Paul every week.
That's standard Paul Tamaldi.
PT.
I used to remember his wife his wife now, but he was partner back then, used to call the club rooms looking for Paul, and he wasn't going.
Yeah, he was.
He was going.
He didn't need to win a grand final to celebrate like that, but that was just an excuse for him. So
absolutely,
it was good. Yeah.
Character Paul. Paul Tamaldi to Tamaldi's great family,
Yeah.
So obviously, you finally got that monkey off your back. 2024, you obviously the competition combines, and look, and I think the Suns had a pretty good year that year. So sort of as a player and as a coach, we knew where we were.
Yeah.
All that done and dusted, I think we made the
elimination final against Newport.
Yeah, so 2024, it was good. Obviously, it's hard to come back after winning a grand final. I think a lot of people lose the want. So for us to, get it together was like, it was, I don't know, it showed a lot of character for me. Although we didn't do much, we made it to the first final, we got smashed. But it was good to see that we were able to actually make those finals.
100%.
Against some really good quality sides like Sunshine and stuff like that.
Yeah. And now we get to 2025. Our lovable Dean Cassius, that's it, he scored a quits.
Yeah, so
he scored a quits.
Well, he'd done everything, Puff. He won the goal kicking. He started, like I said, with a shit side, won the cup. And he's pretty much nothing left. He's been at the helm for a very long time.
Great. So obviously 2025, the club appointed Roger Hand as his new coach. How's Roger going down?
Roger's good. Roger's a very what's the word? A very high tech coach.
Okay.
Probably one of the most high tech coaches I've had, coming from Division 1. So he's good. The boys are bought in. They want that next step. They don't want to just be Division 2 footballers. One day they want to be Division 1 footballers. So he's very good. He's brought some good coaches as well. Yeah. Tony Wright, Jason Rainbow, and they know a lot.
Jason Rainbow, he's a bit of a character, isn't he?
Yeah, we love Jace.
Yeah, we love Jace. He was
he's a very serious guy, but off the field, we love having a laugh.
Nah, he's definitely. You talk about knockabout. He's definitely one of them. He's definitely
get him on the show next month, I reckon.
True story about Jace. No, I won't say that.
Roaring honest, you told me there. Roaring honest.
That'll be for another show. So, obviously, sitting fourth on the ladder at the moment for I think it's 4 and 4.
You probably know more than me, Paul.
Yeah, 4 and 4. So 16 points. So obviously, look, it's been. You look at a couple of your results this year. It's you've got new players at the club, new coaches, things like that. Always take a bit of time. But how are you finding the club with a bit of inconsistency at the moment? Is it through injuries, a bit of lacking a bit of depth down the club?
I don't want to use injuries as an excuse, although it is. We've probably had maybe 6 or 7 of our best players out. Yeah. But having a new coach and driving new standards and doing new game plans, people are going to get confused. You know what I mean? We're at local. Dog's going crazy.
It is going
crazy. Have you fed your dog?
the dog doesn't get fed unless I win a multi.
So a couple of the boys are just struggling sort of with the system, but Roger said at the start, we're not going to click straight away. Yeah. You're not AFL footballers, so a lot of people are getting down about it, and we've been a winning side for a very long time. So 100%. Now that we're sort of not losing, but it's not going all our way, just need to stick together and trust in him, trust in the coaches.
And like we were saying, it has been a bit of inconsistency. But knowing the Suns players and the character, and obviously I don't know Roger as well, but definitely been looking for a big improvement second half of the year.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think we get a couple more players back in 2 weeks, so it'll be good to have a fully fit side. And then, just playing the system for long enough, the boys are going to buy in. The boys will get better at it, so we'll get better.
Scarps, you've been an absolute legend. Look, can I get you to stay on board with previewing and
Look, if you feed your dog and it stops barking, I'll
to be honest, it's probably hang on, the phone's ringing.
It's probably the dog saying feed me.
It's babe. It's a missus. Guess what?
The dog?
Guess what? I'm not answering it. Sorry. I'm in trouble again. So Scarps, I appreciate it. We'll go through. Hang on, let me answer this.
2 calls means you're in trouble.
Hang on. Yes, Bob, you're on speaker. We're doing the live show here at the moment. What can we do for you? Who's at our house? Who do you want to be at our house? We're
in trouble, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. We are on air. Belinda, we are on air at the moment. I've got you on speaker. Are you there? Yeah. We've got Adam Scarpy, the captain of the Suns, previous captain, and we've got Cam here. Yeah, we're live at the moment, Belinda Shell.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we're live. We've got you on live. It's like candid camera. Guess what? You've been candid camera.
I'm going.
All right, love you. Bye. Oh yeah, I'm in a real good position. we spoke about this show, so it's very raw. It's very raw, and sorry viewers, I can see. Obviously, you can see I'm in a bit of trouble there. But like I said, Scarps has done well to stay on board, and we'll preview Saturday's games. And obviously, the week off now, Scarps. We've got North Footscray versus Heights. North Footscray got some good ins at the moment this week. They've got Matty Severson back from suspension and injury.
Yeah.
Archie Thompson and Joshua Spry, and playing against Sunshine Heights, I believe, and the side hasn't come out, but I believe Harley Weston's available, Scarp. So that's
very scary. Very scary.
That is a big in for Heights. So look, I just think at the moment North Footscray are travelling pretty well. They've
too strong.
You know.
Couple of big boys down there. They play well. They play in a good system. Yeah. They all play for each other, so they'll be too good for us. No,
exactly right. And they've recruited well. And I just think Heights obviously coming off a win against Hughes boys, so they'll be full of confidence with that one. But look, I just think down to North Footscray with a few good ins there, and I just think they'll be too strong for Heights down there. So
I agree, Puff.
Agree. So I reckon North Footscray by 36 points. Scarps will go. I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I'll go 30 points.
Just agree with me, Scarps.
30
just
points.
agree. Just agree. Yeah. All right. Then we'll preview the second game. Look, should be an easy game. West Footscray versus Tarnate. Obviously, West Footscray are a bit like the Suns at the moment, a bit hot and cold, and hit and miss. So Tarnate, obviously, we played against Tarnate. They're
credit to them for showing up every week.
Look, it's a big thing. You know, when you're losing games by 30 goals, it's as a player, and like you said, that year you struggled. It must be hard as a player to know you're not going to win a game of football.
Of course, feel sorry for Tarnate. They joined the same sort of year, or maybe the year before we did. So as much as there's a big rivalry between Tarnate and Suns, I do feel sorry for them. But they'll keep showing up as a good club does.
Yeah, and we've spoken about Tarnate on a $45 knockout before we've upgraded to this. And look, they're a club on the rebuild, but as long as they've got a goal in mind, I think the club's on the right track.
Yeah, as long as they stick together, Buff.
But in saying that, West Footscray, I just think they're a side that, on their day, just play some good quality football, and that. So look, I think West Footscray should win this game pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think so too, Paul.
So
I'm not going to put a number on it. I think West Footscray will win very well.
Look,
you give me a margin.
I'm going 189 points. 109.
Keep it there, Tarnate.
Hopefully, Tarnate's got the win for the 4 quarters. Maxie, I'm sorry, mate. I'm just having a bit of a laugh. All right, we'll go to the next game, Western Rams and Labo, and
should be a good game.
Yeah, look, the two, not so much Western Rams, but Laverton. I just expected more of Laverton. They recruited well off season. They talked it up, but it just hasn't happened for them at the moment. So obviously, you played against Labo. What did you think of them?
No, they were good, to be honest. From the Labo that I know a few years ago, they've improved. Nick Waddell is a very good coach. I don't know anything about him.
You're being kind because you did beat him by 50 points. I'm just saying.
I'm happy with them. They got good signs there. They're going in the right direction with a good coach.
I do notice they've got a good young player down there, young Brody Mitchell. He's originally from Manor Lakes, so obviously Manor Lakes and Labo under 18s have joined.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't know that, Puff.
Yeah, so Western Rams, there's a lot of talk.
Very good.
Very good, but there is a lot of talk that not a happy place at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So one of my reporters, it's got back to me and said, it's not a happy place at the moment. So
idea, Puff.
Yeah, look, that surprised me. I hope my informant was wrong, but I just think Western Rams. Is
that just for a bit of shit stir, that comment? Or?
No, that's actually that was reported to me. Okay. So I'm not about shit stirring. I'm not about it. So
that's not you. That's out of character.
100% it is. But Western Rams, like I said, first half of the year they pushed Auburn Vale. They pushed Hughes to 3/4 time.
Yeah, they were very good.
It was only 3 goals. So look, they're a side that we want to see win a few games the second half of the year. And I did say until I found out that information, right, that Western Rams could shake the fight in the second half of the year. So,
Yeah.
in saying that, like I said, with Laver, I just think they've been disappointed. So,
Yeah.
if I was coaches down there, you've got young talent, just they're not going to make finals this year. Just
Okay.
get some senior games. So
you're picking the Rams?
I'm going Rams there.
I'm going Lavo, Paul.
Oh, you're going Lavo?
Only because I reckon Scotty Bale's going to get the call up to the seniors, and I reckon he's going to kick.
No, Scotty did play against Auburn.
He's in good form, big piggy Bale.
I just think if you're going to go down, sorry, Scotty, if you're going to go, if you're going to go down that path, you might as well pick me. No, we love Scotty Bale. So, but Western Rams by 35 points there.
I reckon Lavo in a thriller, 10 points.
Oh, big call there. All right, we go to our next game, Auburn Vale versus Wyndham Vale. I said there's a couple of big ins for Auburn Vale. You've got Nathan Collegia back. Joy Kotoski's, they played at Parkside, Nick, so very good young football. And just in now, as we're going to air, a big announcement for the Auburn Vale football.
A bit dirty on this one, Paul.
Yeah, I believe this bloke does work with you.
You see, yeah.
He's kept it quiet. Kyle Parker must have got sick for travelling to the country, has signed on with Auburn Vale.
So they got sick of the big bucks, Paul.
Big bucks. So that's a big in for Auburn Vale.
That
That is a massive in. And just by all reports, obviously they're playing against probably the best side in the competition at the moment, Wyndham Vale. And look, by all reports, what I've heard, Auburn Vale are pretty confident about this game, Scarp.
Yeah, interesting. Parker's a very good player. Also a very good bloke, so that's a great pick-up by them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm fucking dirty. He didn't message me and tell me.
He's definitely kept that one quiet.
Kept it real close.
That was in house, and I only found out it just before we went to air. And like I said, I just think, look, Wyndham Vale obviously,
Good.
and even last year they were beating sides by, they weren't beating the Albions, the Sunshines, and the Newports, but all the other sides they've been by 10, 15 goals. And
they're good.
obviously you played against them the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I didn't play. I was out.
Okay, so it's pointless me asking you that question because you didn't play against them. But obviously, I went and watched that game.
Yeah.
They seem to have improved a lot from last year as well. So, but in saying that, Scarps, look, this is.
Oh, here we go. The Auburn Vale hat is on.
No,
the Auburn Vale hat is on.
I'm just happy the research, the feedback I got back from Auburn Vale.
Yeah.
I'm going for the upset of the year here, Scarps. I'm going, look, no doubt Wyndham Vale got a good list. Some good ins for Auburn Vale. Yeah, look, I'm the shock of this season. Auburn Vale by 15 points, Scarps.
That's a big call.
It's a big call, but you know what? Sides always due to lose a game, whether it be this week, but yeah.
Fair enough. I can't agree with you, Paul. I think Auburn Vale are a good side and a couple of good ins there, especially with Parker, but Wyndham Vale just too good at the moment.
Too good, so.
But yeah, sometimes you live in a bit of a fantasy world, Puff, and I think you're in a little bit of a fantasy right now. So I'm going to go with the reality, and I'll pick Wyndham Vale here.
Wyndham Vale by how much, Scubs? You said off here. I know what you said off here.
Wyndham Vale by 4 goals. Good game.
4 goals. Well, there you go, Busey.
Where is it, Puff? Is it?
It's at Auburn Vale's ground.
Okay, yeah. 4 goals, Puff.
Well, there you go.
3 goals, Puff. 3 goals. 3 goals at home.
Off camera, he said Wyndham Vale win by 15 goals.
Not true.
All right, we go to our last game. Scarps. This is a game we've been talking about. This is a game.
Big game for us.
Look, Suns versus Braybrook. Obviously, our viewers probably don't realise last year when the Suns and Braybrook played, I put $1,000 that the Suns would beat Braybrook with Boucher.
Have you paid that, by the way? Have you paid that?
No, well, people don't know me now, so. But in all fairness to Bouchard, Braybrook did get up that day by 2 points. Being an old knockabout pen boy, Bouchard's given me the double or nothing.
Oh,
so
good on you, Bouchard.
So he did reach out to me, Bouchard. I was hoping to get him on the show today. He did reach out to me.
Probably waiting for his money.
Besides that, he's waiting for his money. No, he's good man, Bush. And I've called it. I've gone double or nothing.
Oh, no, Paul.
I've gone double or nothing.
You love doing this to the Suns. Put so much unnecessary fucking pressure.
Put a bit of pressure on the Suns, but I just think
such an important game here. The Suns and Braybrook. You've got Suns, like I said, sitting in fourth position. You know, you win this game of football.
Yeah.
You know, you're back in double chance reality. Braybrook lose this game of football.
Yeah.
They're 2 games outside the 5, so it's a big game. And look, and I did speak to Blake about this game before. There has been a lot of banter and things like that. You know, and like I said, I took the challenge on. I took Bouchard's challenge on.
Yeah.
I believe.
Will you pay though if we do lose?
If this
or will it be a triple or nothing and just till it goes your way?
No, well, there's a
Just be honest, Paul.
look, there's a chance it could be 10 double or nothings, but look, I could have started GoFundMe page here if I lose. So, but in saying that, I'm confident the Suns will win. I just think at home the Suns are a different side.
Yeah,
I think Braybrook have been a bit disappointing this year. They've been games that should have won, they've lost. So I'm picking the Suns by 65 points.
Oh my God.
So
No
Boosh,
pressure, boys.
if you're
No
hearing,
pressure, boys, this week. Phil was fucking put it on us.
so if you're hearing me, Boosh, I've gone Suns 65 points.
Fucking hell.
You've lost your double or
You
nothing.
do this shit on purpose, don't you?
100% I do. And
Fucking hell, Paul.
I just hope you go back and tell the Suns boys that they better not lose this one.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. So that's for the B grade. Scarps, you've been an absolute legend.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Bit of knockabout. Look,
Do I get my free jumper now, or what's the
no,
game?
they're on order at the moment, but
You've been saying that
Look,
since fucking started, mate.
each guest
Oh, here we go.
on a show. Look,
What have you got?
toilet paper. It's got to be part of everyone's footy kit. I mean, you go to the opposition club.
Yeah.
You're dying for shit. There's no toilet paper. Or if you finally,
Fuck.
if there is toilet paper, it's like sandpaper. So
Bring your own.
we're not sponsored by Sorbet.
Not yet.
So to all your footballers out there, you've got to have that in your kit. So Scarps, you've been an absolute legend. Take that, put that in your bag, and
Mate, you're going to ask me when he's back after the show?
100% I will. And good luck tomorrow against the Braybrook, and let's win $1,000. And Scarps, what we got? Well, here, will you be happy to sign the wall for us? That's
On the wall?
Yeah.
No worries.
Each guest that comes
Is this the rental book, or did you buy this house?
The missus owns it. I haven't told her yet, so
Fucking hell.
as you can see with that phone call,
Yeah, maybe I'll do it and leave straight away.
yeah, no, definitely. So, Scarps, if you can do that,
No worries, mate.
much appreciated. Sign, first signature, Adam Scarpino, Premiership captain of the Suns.